Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to invite you to a conversation about courage, resilience, and the profound beauty of letting go. It's not an easy topic. Letting go can feel like a cruel betrayal of the love, hope, or effort we've poured into something or someone. But here's the truth: growth is impossible without endings, and healing cannot come without release. We live in a world that glorifies holding on to relationships, holding on to identities, holding on to stories that no longer serve us. But what if the true act of bravery isn't in holding on, but in letting go? Letting go is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's a recognition that some chapters in our lives are meant to close so that new ones can begin. Recognizing when something is over is one of the hardest things we face in life. Why? Because endings often come wrapped in uncertainty, fear, and the bittersweet memories of what once was. But here's the truth: holding on to something that no longer serves us often hurts more than letting it go. We struggle to let go because endings feel like failure. If a relationship ends, we wonder what we did wrong. If a career path doesn't work out, we question our worth. But what if endings weren't failures at all? What if they were simply signposts guiding us toward a new direction, a new opportunity, or even a new version of ourselves? Recognizing when it's over requires deep honesty. It's about looking at a situation for what it truly is, not what we wish it could be or what it used to be. Ask yourself, is this still bringing me joy? Is it still aligning with my values, my growth, or my purpose? Or am I clinging to it because I'm afraid of what comes next? Sometimes we hold on because of the time, energy, and love we've invested. We think, I've put so much into this, I can't just let it go. But the truth is, staying attached to something that's no longer growing doesn't honor the effort you've already made. It diminishes it. Recognizing the end is not about throwing away the past, it's about preserving its value while choosing to move forward. This moment of recognition is not just about endings, it's also about trust. Trusting that there is more waiting for you beyond what you can currently see. Trusting that your story doesn't stop here. Trusting yourself to take the next step, even when the path is unclear. Endings don't have to be dramatic or painful sometimes. They're quiet and subtle. A friendship that no longer feels mutual. A dream that no longer excites you. A chapter of life that no longer fits who you've become. Recognizing these moments requires courage because it's easier to stay where we are than to embrace the unknown. But here's the beauty of recognizing when it's over, it opens the door to what's next. Life isn't about clinging to what was, it's about evolving into what can be. When you allow yourself to acknowledge the end, you also give yourself permission to grow, heal, and begin anew. So take a deep breath, look at your life with clarity, and ask yourself, what do I need to release? What is no longer serving me? Recognizing when it's over is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of a new chapter waiting to be written. One of the bravest acts we can undertake is to allow ourselves to feel deeply, especially when it hurts. In a world that glorifies strength and resilience, we're often taught to suppress our emotions, to be strong, and to keep it together. But true strength lies in vulnerability, and healing begins when we grant ourselves permission to feel. When something ends a relationship, a dream, a chapter of life, it leaves a void. That void is often filled with pain, grief, or disappointment. And let's be honest, these emotions are uncomfortable. They can be overwhelming, messy, and even frightening. It's tempting to avoid them, to distract ourselves with busyness, or to bury our feelings under a mask of indifference. But the truth is, the emotions we suppress don't disappear, they linger, manifesting as stress, resentment, or even physical illness. Giving yourself permission to feel is an act of self-compassion. It's telling yourself it's okay to not be okay right now. It's understanding that pain is not a sign of weakness, but a natural response to loss. When you feel deeply, you honor the significance of what you've experienced. You honor the love, effort, and dreams you poured into something, even if it didn't turn out the way you hoped. This process of feeling isn't about wallowing or getting stuck in sadness. It's about acknowledging your emotions as they come, naming them, sitting with them, and letting them move through you. Grief, sadness, anger, or disappointment are like waves in the ocean. They come and go. If you allow yourself to ride the wave instead of resisting it, you'll find that each wave becomes a little less intense over time. It's important to remember that feeling doesn't mean falling apart. Feeling means allowing yourself to experience the full spectrum of your humanity. And within that, there is power. When you feel deeply, you become more attuned to your inner world. You gain clarity about what matters most to you. You discover the strength that comes from weathering emotional storms instead of running from them. But let's be clear, giving yourself permission to feel doesn't mean doing it alone. Sometimes the weight of emotions can be too heavy to carry by yourself. Seeking support from a trusted friend, a therapist, or a community isn't a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your courage and your commitment to healing. Feelings are messengers. They tell us where we hurt, what we need, and what we value. If we ignore them, we miss the lessons they bring. By allowing yourself to feel, you open the door to understanding yourself more deeply and preparing your heart for what's next. So take a moment, breathe, and lean into your emotions. If you're sad, let the tears flow. If you're angry, acknowledge the injustice or the hurt. If you're disappointed, sit with that feeling and understand where it's coming from. It's not about fixing your emotions, it's about feeling them fully so they can do their work and then pass. Giving yourself permission to feel is a gift to yourself. It's the beginning of release, the starting point of healing, and the foundation for moving forward. Let yourself feel because you deserve to honor the depth of your experience and the resilience of your heart. Releasing the need for control is one of the most liberating and challenging steps on the journey to healing and moving on. Control gives us a sense of safety, predictability, and power. It makes us feel like we can manage outcomes, avoid pain, and shape the world to meet our expectations. But here's the hard truth: control is an illusion, and holding onto it too tightly can prevent us from experiencing the freedom and growth that come with letting life unfold naturally. When we cling to control, we often find ourselves in a cycle of frustration, anxiety, and disappointment. Why? Because the harder we try to control people, situations, or outcomes, the more we realize how much is beyond our grasp. You cannot control someone else's actions no matter how much you love them. You cannot dictate the timing of life's opportunities no matter how much you plan. And you cannot stop change no matter how tightly you hold on to what is familiar. But releasing control isn't about giving up, it's about letting go of the unrealistic expectation that you can micromanage life. It's about recognizing the difference between what's within your power and what isn't. What can you control? Your attitude, your choices, your responses to challenges. What can't you control? Other people's behavior, the past, and the uncertainty of the future. Letting go of control requires trust in yourself. Trust in the process, and for many, trust in something greater than yourself. It's about surrendering to the flow of life and embracing the idea that sometimes the best things happen when we stop trying to force them. Think about it. How many times have you been surprised by an unexpected opportunity, a chance meeting, or a solution that arrived only after you stopped obsessing over it? When you release the need for control, you make room for acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you agree with everything that happens, but it does mean you stop fighting against reality. You stop wasting energy trying to change things you cannot change. Instead, you channel that energy into adapting, growing, and finding peace in the present moment. Releasing control also opens the door to creativity and resilience. When you're not fixated on a specific outcome, you allow yourself to explore new possibilities and adapt to challenges in innovative ways. You become more flexible, more open to the unexpected, and more capable of thriving in uncertainty. But let's be honest, letting go of control is scary. It can feel like stepping into the unknown without a map. That's why it's important to start small. Begin by identifying one area in your life where you're holding on too tightly. Maybe it's a relationship where you're trying to control how someone feels or acts. Maybe it's a goal where you've attached yourself to a rigid timeline. Ask yourself what would happen if I loosened my grip. What would happen if I trusted that things would unfold as they're meant to? Releasing control is not about passivity or resignation. It's about finding balance, taking action where you can, and letting go where you must. It's about understanding that some things are beyond you and learning to be at peace with that truth. When you release control, you free yourself from the burden of trying to manage the unmanageable. You open yourself up to the beauty of life's unpredictability. And most importantly, you reclaim your energy, your focus, and your ability to live fully in the moment. So take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I holding on to that I need to release? Where am I trying to force something that would be better left to unfold naturally? The act of letting go is not a loss, it's a choice to live with grace, courage, and trust in the infinite possibilities ahead. Your life is a story, and every experience, both good and bad, becomes a chapter in that story. But here's the truth that many of us overlook: you are the author. You have the power to decide how the story is told, how the events are interpreted, and what meaning you give to the things that happen to you. Redefining your narrative is not about erasing the past or pretending it didn't happen. It's about choosing to see it through a lens of growth, resilience, and possibility. Often we get stuck in narratives that no longer serve us. Perhaps you've told yourself that a failure defines your worth. Or maybe you've adopted a story of victimhood where everything that went wrong is proof that life is unfair. These narratives can feel real because they're rooted in genuine pain or disappointment. But just because they feel real doesn't mean they have to remain the dominant story of your life. Redefining your narrative starts with awareness. Ask yourself, what story have I been telling about myself and my life? Is it a story of defeat, scarcity, or limitation? Is it a story where someone else's actions hold all the power? Once you identify the narrative you've been carrying, you can begin to rewrite it. One of the most transformative ways to redefine your narrative is to shift your perspective on hardship. Instead of viewing challenges as evidence of your inadequacy, consider them as chapters of growth. What did you learn from that relationship that didn't work out? What strength did you develop from that setback? What doors opened after the one you wanted closed? When you redefine your narrative, you take ownership of your story. This doesn't mean ignoring the pain or pretending everything was okay. It means looking at the past with compassion and choosing to see yourself not as a victim, but as a survivor, a learner, and a person who is continually evolving. It's also important to remember that your narrative isn't just shaped by what happens to you. It's shaped by the meaning you assign to those events. Two people can go through similar experiences and come out with entirely different stories. One may see rejection as proof they're not enough, while the other sees it as redirection towards something better. Which meaning will you choose? Part of redefining your narrative is deciding what role you want to play in your own story. Are you the hero who rises against the odds? Are you the creator who builds something beautiful from the rubble? Or are you the person who remains stuck, letting the past dictate the future? The choice is yours, and it starts with a single decision: I will not let my pain define me. I will let it refine me. This process isn't easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. Redefining your narrative requires reflection, self-compassion, and a willingness to let go of old beliefs. Sometimes it helps to write your story down, as if you're narrating it to someone else. What would you want them to take away from your journey? What message would you want your life to convey? And remember, your story is still being written. The chapters that have already unfolded are just the beginning. You have the power to change the tone, the direction, and the ending. What comes next is up to you. Redefining your narrative is one of the most empowering things you can do. It's not about denying the past, but about reclaiming your agency and seeing yourself as the resilient, capable, and evolving person you truly are. When you take control of your narrative, you don't just change the story, you change your life. Forgiveness is one of the most profound and freeing acts we can undertake, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. Many people see forgiveness as something we give to others, a gift we bestow on those who have wronged us. But true forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. It's not about excusing bad behavior or letting someone off the hook. It's about releasing the weight of resentment, anger, and bitterness that holds us hostage. When you choose forgiveness, you reclaim your peace. Carrying the burden of past wrongs, whether they were inflicted by others or by yourself, can be exhausting. It's like walking through life with a heavy backpack full of unresolved emotions, each one adding to the load. And while it's natural to feel anger, betrayal, or disappointment when you've been hurt, holding on to those feelings only prolongs your suffering. Forgiveness doesn't mean that what happened was okay. It doesn't mean you have to forget, reconcile, or even allow the person who hurt you back into your life. Forgiveness means choosing not to let the pain of the past dictate your future. It means saying, I refuse to give this person, this event, or this mistake the power to control me any longer. But forgiveness isn't just for others, it's also for yourself. How often do we carry guilt, shame, or regret for mistakes we've made? We replay our missteps in our minds, punishing ourselves over and over again. Yet the truth is, we're all human. We all make mistakes, act impulsively, or fail to live up to our own expectations. Holding on to self-condemnation doesn't make us better people. It keeps us stuck in a cycle of self-blame and unworthiness. Choosing forgiveness for yourself requires self-compassion. It requires acknowledging your imperfections, learning from them, and letting them go. You are not defined by your worst moments. You are defined by what you choose to do next. When you forgive yourself, you give yourself permission to grow, to heal, and to move forward without the chains of guilt weighing you down. Forgiveness is also a process. It's not something that happens instantly or neatly. It takes time, reflection, and often a lot of emotional work. There will be moments when you feel like you've moved on, only for a memory or a trigger to resurface the hurt. That's okay. Forgiveness isn't a one-time act, it's a journey. And every step you take toward releasing the pain is a step toward freedom. Sometimes forgiveness requires perspective. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How has it shaped me? How can I use this pain to grow stronger or more compassionate? When you look at the bigger picture, you may find that the hurtful experiences in your life have also been opportunities for growth, resilience, or even transformation. Forgiving others doesn't mean you have to tell them directly or even interact with them again. Forgiveness can happen entirely within your own heart. Write a letter you'll never send, have a conversation with yourself, or simply affirm, I choose to let this go because I deserve peace. Choosing forgiveness also sets a powerful example. When you forgive, you show others and yourself that love and compassion are stronger than hate or resentment. You demonstrate the courage it takes to rise above pain and reclaim your power. Ultimately, forgiveness is about freedom. It's about releasing the past so you can fully embrace the present. It's about unburdening your heart, lightening your spirit, and opening yourself to the possibility of joy, love, and peace. So choose forgiveness not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve it. Deserve to be free from anger. Deserve to let go of guilt. Deserve to live a life unshackled by the weight of the past. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form. And when you choose forgiveness, you choose yourself. Life has a way of moving forward, whether we're ready for it or not. It doesn't stop for our heartbreak, our setbacks, or our resistance to change. And while endings can feel devastating, like the final chapter of a book we weren't ready to finish, they also make way for something new. Embracing the beauty of what's next is about choosing to look forward with hope and curiosity, even when the path ahead feels uncertain. To embrace the future, you must first accept that change is inevitable. Life is a series of transitions, and every ending, no matter how painful, creates space for a new beginning. It's easy to focus on what we've lost, to mourn the life we thought we'd have, or the plans that didn't work out. But by fixating on what's gone, we miss the opportunities unfolding before us. The beauty of what's next lies in its potential. It's the possibility of discovering something you've never experienced, meeting someone who changes your perspective, or stepping into a version of yourself you never imagined. The future is not something to fear, it's something to be curious about. What lessons are waiting for you? What dreams are yet to be realized? What joy is just around the corner? Embracing the future requires a shift in mindset. It's about reframing uncertainty as an adventure rather than a threat. Yes, the unknown can be scary. It can make you feel unsteady and vulnerable. But it can also be exhilarating. The greatest stories in life often come from stepping into the unknown, from daring to take a leap even when you don't know where you'll land. Think about a time in your life when something unexpected led to a positive change. Maybe a job you didn't get pushed you toward a career you love. Maybe a relationship that ended made space for deeper self-discovery or a healthier partnership. These moments remind us that life often works in ways we don't understand in the moment, but they lead us exactly where we need to be. To embrace the beauty of what's next, you also need to cultivate trust in yourself and in the process of life. Trust that you are resilient enough to handle whatever comes your way. Trust that even if things don't go as planned, they can still turn out beautifully. And trust that the challenges you face are shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. It's important to remember that moving forward doesn't mean forgetting the past. The past is part of your story, and it's okay to carry it with you, but don't let it hold you back. Use it as a foundation to build upon, not a weight that keeps you anchored in one place. Embracing the future also means staying open to possibilities. Sometimes the beauty of what's next doesn't look like what you expected. It may come in the form of an opportunity you didn't seek, a path you didn't plan, or a version of happiness you never considered. Being open means letting go of rigid expectations and allowing life to surprise you. And finally, embracing the beauty of what's next is about living fully in the present. The future isn't something that exists out there in the distance. It's something you create moment by moment. Each decision you make, each step you take is part of shaping what's to come. By being present and intentional today, you set the stage for a future that reflects your hopes, values, and dreams. So take a deep breath and look ahead. Yes, there may be challenges, but there will also be opportunities, joys, and moments of unexpected grace. The beauty of what's next is waiting for you not because life is perfect, but because it's full of possibility. Step into it with courage, curiosity, and an open heart. Your next chapter is ready to begin. Make it beautiful. In life, endings are inevitable, but they are not final. They are gateways to growth, healing, and renewal. By recognizing when it's over, allowing yourself to feel, releasing control, forgiving, redefining your narrative, and embracing the beauty of what's next, you reclaim your power. Choose to let go, not as an act of weakness, but of strength. Trust that every ending births a beginning, and your best chapters are yet to come.